every track has a full-on team of producers, which usually isn't a winning recipe.
Go subscribe, yeah, subscribe.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Knowledge. Welcome to Brews and Reviews, EARTHGANG Ghetto Gods. Do they get closer or further from the Outkast comparisons on this project? We will see. I'm surprised they really took so long to drop this after Mirrorland, given the immense success of that album. They kind of broke out. Of course, they dropped Spillage Village in between, but it's still been a long time even from that album. And I guess everybody on Dreamville is really taking a long time to drop, but at least they're dropping though. At least Cole's letting some music come out, unlike some other label out there that starts with T and ends with E that ain't dropping nothing right now, even though they know that we need to hear it. This album, Ghetto Gods, was supposed to come out several times throughout last year, maybe even all the way back to 2020, but it kept getting pushed back, and sample clearances was one of the reasons. But now the wait is over. Let's get into it. After an intro from 2 Chainz, we get Ghetto Gods, the track. Very synth-heavy beat. Johnny Venus's unique voice and style gives me immediate memories of listening to Mirrorland and what I was doing at the time. This ain't a bad song here, but it does feel a little more pop-leaning and generic, especially for such creative artists. Unfortunately, I think we'll see that a lot on this project, but I do like Venus's lyrics here, especially as he emphasizes the last line on his verse by full-on singing. He says, I gave my mama some racks and she asked me if I'm selling drugs. I say, mama, please, if I was, do you think I'd really let you know? Billy, 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 Billy is the next song. Moving on to a completely different style of track. On the chorus, title, and most importantly on the beat, this proves to be an updated version and allusion to A Milli by Lil Wayne. EARTHGANG taking it further now. After inflation, we got a lot of inflation going on. You know that. So they're not talking about 1 million. They already got 1 million. They're talking about 1 billion here. It's a trap-esque, minimalist, bass-heavy beat, just like the Lil Wayne track. And what do you do with a beat like that? Just like Lil Wayne did, you showcase your flow, which both MCs do effectively. I didn't feel this at first, but looking back, this part of the song is one of the standouts on the album. We do get a beat switch, though, that goes even more trap, and fittingly, we got Future spitting over that. WATERBOYZ, seeing the track list, you know this is one that people were looking forward to because it features JID and J. Cole and EARTHGANG on the same track. And first of all, this is the best beat on the album so far, possibly the best beat overall, and I think it more fits the eccentric style that we expect from EARTHGANG than the previous beats did. And I haven't been mentioning producers because it seems that every track has a full-on team of producers, which usually isn't a winning recipe. It lacks focus. It becomes more generic when you get too many people involved in the beat. And I know that Mirrorland only had 1 or 2 producers per track, with much of it being self-produced. So to me, that hurts this album overall. But on this track specifically, the team works. And one of the members of that team is producer Daoud. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it looks like Daoud, and he just produced a lot of tracks, a lot of the best tracks on the best album of 2022 so far, which is Saba's A Few Good Things. Moving on from the beat though, the chemistry with JID and EARTHGANG is undeniable. As Venus breaks up the verses with a head-nodding chorus, JID's verse is the best flow on the album so far, until we get to Doctur Dot's verse on this, and Doctur Dot is severely underrated as a member of EARTHGANG. Many people focus on Joni Venus, rightly so, because the dude's got a lot of talent, but Doctur Dot has his moments as well, and he displays that full on here with an incredible flow. But Cole, man, Cole, he got a fire lit under him. Maybe bad responses to the off-season did that. I wasn't feeling that one as much as some of his previous efforts. Maybe I got under his skin with my review of the off-season, but whatever it was, he's coming after it this year. 2022 might be Cole's year, because between what he's doing on this track and what he did on Johnny P's Caddy with Benny the Butcher on the Alchemist beat, he murdered that Alchemist beat. And he murders this beat as well. I laughed out loud at him mentioning his homeless aesthetic, because we know he's looking homeless these days. And then he ends the verse like this. He says, "They can't fuck with me," and I stand on that quote. "They never gonna change like Santa Claus clothes. I know a young man wanna stand on my throat, but I never hate. I'm a fan of Lil Bro. But bro got a long way to go if he think that he ever gonna catch up with Cole." And I'm gonna drink to this track. I am sipping on a Harpoon IPA, a 5.9% IPA from Harpoon in Boston, Massachusetts. And this is a very subtle and smooth IPA, just like my subtle and smooth MCs that are featured in EARTHGANG. Let's get back to the project. Amen. There's some interesting things going on with this track. Nice drumless intro with Venus singing over it, thinking it's going to be just an R&B track until the beat kicks in, and that puts some power behind the verses. And the lyrics are a little lackluster, though, with the whole thing being a stretched metaphor about fellatio, down on your knees, amen, get it, you're praying, perhaps doing other things while you're down there. But despite those generic lyrics, do stick around for the outro as the beat morphs and goes off a little bit towards the end. All Eyes on Me is the next track. That's a bold title, given Pac's use of that in the title of his album. That's one of the best albums of the 90s and maybe one of the best double albums in hip-hop, period. And the track turns out to be the opposite of Pac musically, but includes a lot of his messages lyrically, like police brutality and systemic racism. It really is a smoothed out, slightly funky vibe on this, and beautiful singing about an ugly situation. Lie to Me, pretty cool concept here. Wavy, warping beat, a very loose story about a girl out there having a dude buy her everything to the point that he goes broke, but they're both lying and both getting what they want at the same time. American Horror Story. This was a lead single off the album and still a standout. Lyrics and flow are on point throughout. Johnny Venus says, "Once upon a time across the far and wide, blue abyss, the first people known to earth thrived. Then one day a ship docked with evil intentions that would change the course of the world and shape our lives." But Doctur Dot really coming through with some facts. He says, "Some of y'all so woke it's ironic. You really be ignorant because of your knowledge. You look down on your brother because you went to college, or you get the perfect collection of rocks and stones and gems that soak up the mood. Say you're open-minded. No, it ain't true." Great track here. Power. This is going to be an interesting track because it features CeeLo and Nick Cannon. If y'all too young, you don't even know about CeeLo. You think he's some cheesy pop singer who was on The Voice and sang "Fuck You" and makes a Christmas album? Fuck that. He was one of the most unique and creative voices in hip-hop. You talk about Andre 3000 now and his legacy and how 3K stacks up as one of the best MCs of all time because he was so unique, and that was CeeLo back in the day. He was on par, if not better than 3 Stacks in the 90s. Yeah, I said it. They were in the same crew. They came up together in Atlanta with the Dungeon family, and they were both out there doing these unique things with their rhymes. CeeLo's flow was impeccable and in a style no one had heard before. His lyrics were inspiring. Check out Goodie Mob's Goodie Bag or really the whole Soul Food album, the track Soul Food at that, or even CeeLo's first solo joint, check out Big Ol' Words. CeeLo was on the cutting edge of hip hop, one of the coldest flows in the game right there. It is very, very fitting that he's featured on an EARTHGANG album, no doubt an influence and a predecessor to their style. And there's a deep, very soulful, introspective mood created by the beat. And they say, sometimes I sit back and roll up and I think of my heroes, and so it goes. Gain the world, lose your soul, skull and bones, Puffy Combs. Biggie died for Puffy to really blow up and gain success, and Puff kind of exploited that to gain success, or in other words, sold his soul. CeeLo does not disappoint with his verse. I want to hear CeeLo rhyme like this some more in 2022. He says, but the corporate is morbid. They want to put a mark in your forehead, a quake in their handshake that you fake for the fans' sake. Smoke some. Nice bass line and fitting reggae-esque vibe on this Smoke song. Very nice vibes. Then we go into Strong Friends. Good message that I think I've heard before on Royce's Book of Ryan album. The concept of checking on your strong friends came from that in my mind, but it's true. Dot and Venus let you know through some soulful verses that you really need to check on the people that it seems like got it together the most, because they're not the ones that are going to ask you for help. Then the album closes out with Run 2. It's a pretty good closer. Lyrics are really a lot better on the back half of this album than the first half. And Doctur Dot says, I'm the madness to the method, man. From a place without no Wu-Tang Clan, but we got Ku Klux Klans all up through there. This is a good listen, but it didn't live up to the high expectations that I had for a follow-up to Mirrorland. I feel they were a little more innovative on their previous two efforts with Mirrorland and Spillage Village, and I think the production was really the problem here. It was a bit watered down and generic in places, leading both MCs to be uninspired in spots too. This did have some great standouts, such as WATERBOYZ, American Horror Story, and Power. But other than that, it just doesn't seem as innovative as we know that they're capable of being. They're no longer pushing the envelope and going more into kind of a mainstream type of rap pocket. Aside from that though, their style is still unique, and you could say they're some of the most unique artists out there. It's just not in the vein of Mirrorland or Silligion to me. So I give this a 7 out of a 12 pack. Thank you for watching my review of EARTHGANG's Ghetto Gods. If you like this, go ahead and hit like now and hit me up in the comments. If you didn't like it, also let me know why in the comments. I drop hip-hop and hops related content consistently, so until I see you next time, keep buzzing. Fucking man says subscribe.
But if he's on his channel saying that somebody's album is better than mine, unsubscribe to that motherfucker.
No, your album's the best, man.
There you go. Subscribe.
Yeah.
Subscribe.